Hi, we're the second week into uh, our classes in the time of the coronavirus. And I'm finding this second week more challenging than the first week. And I wanted to share with you this poem that I read before in class by Langston Hughes. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. So I'm thinking of that this morning because I'm thinking of what are the ways that I can uplift myself. There is a kind of spatial correlation to the sinking of spirits and to our physical posture and our being. So one way we can really support our spirits, our emotions, our aspirations, that's a beautiful word, aspiration, it actually has the word breath in it, is by finding a physical upliftment, to do that for ourselves in our body, and that does support our well-being. So, favorite prop usage does help with that quality of upliftment. It's a long belt, and you can use, if you don't have a belt, you could use a rope that you have in your house. Maybe you've got a long bathrobe sash or something. I don't know about you, I'm spending a fair amount of time in my bathrobe these days. By the way, if you watched this video, would like to borrow, don't have a chair, I am going to use the chair today. You can use an ordinary household chair as well for what we're doing today. But if you'd like to borrow a yoga chair, I'd be glad to lend you one of mine for the duration, and even a block and the long belt. So let us go. A long belt, you want to make it even on both sides, so not like so, but like so. You take it behind your back and underneath your armpits. Cross it. So still hold it in two hands. And then this is a key moment. Take it behind your head, behind your neck, and pull it snug. You don't want it to drop down too low. You want it to be on your shoulder blades, not below the shoulder blades. And then take it behind your back. And you'll feel right away that the sternum lifts. I even start to get a strong lift of my front ribs. And I don't want to push down on my front ribs, but I do want to lift the back ribs as well. So there's a bit of a counter movement in the back body that as I pull and experience this traction down the trapezius muscles, that I'm not sinking the skeleton, the back body skeleton down. So lift up these low back ribs, make sure your abdomen is not pushing forward, but feel the rising, the inner rising of the belt. Allow the back of your neck to lengthen and the back of your skull even to rise up a little bit. I know that I tend to, in stressful situations, pull the back of my skull down. So allow that lengthening up of your neck, release of your trapezius down your back. Now, we're just going to secure the belt to the body. So I'm just taking it, do a simple tie. It doesn't have to stay really tight. And then resting my hands on my thighs. And let's close our eyes. And let the attention, the awareness go inward. It actually can help to take off the glasses for that. You may feel your breath a little differently than usual, having done that action with the belt. Don't force or push your breath in any way, but think about releasing any hardness or halting holds of the breath. Try to feel your breath all through your torso, all the way down to your sitting bones. And you feel the breath on the side body, from your hips to your armpits. Let's chant Om together 3 times. Gently open your eyes. Remove the strap. And we're going to move our blankets to the side and lie down on our back. Have a block nearby you, a rolled, what else might work if you don't have a block? Part of it, a rolled blanket might help. I'll show you, or just your hand. We're going to start lying on our backs, feet hip-width distance apart, arms out to the side. And a lovely thing about doing this, as one starts practice, is that it allows one to get that feeling of the abdomen releasing down to the back body, the softening of the muscles of the upper back. Also just generally a feeling of grounding, being on the ground. So let your whole front body release to your back body. Let your back body spread. I feel that the back body is coming more into contact with the earth here. And then we're going to start with a simple flexion of the thigh up and release down. I'm keeping a 90-degree angle at my knee. And I'm just doing a pretty easy movement. I'm stabilizing through the torso, but mostly by means of feeling that connection of the back down to the earth. I'm not really tightening my abdomen here to do this. There are probably all kinds of little muscles activating to help me keep that settled, stable feeling. But it's not a hard, effortful action right now. Now, with both feet on the floor, press both feet down, lift your sitting bones up and towards your knees, and then come back down, pulling the sitting bones a bit towards your heels as you do that. Go up again. Now, this is not a full bridge pose. I'm not trying to lift my chest at all. I'm really just trying to get the hips lifting up and towards the knees. So I'm using the backs of my legs, and I'm using my buttocks to do that. Last one. And come down. Now we're going to combine those two and press up and stand on the left leg, lift the right leg. come down. Lift up, stand on the right leg, lift the left leg. Notice if the hips want to sway to the side or one side wants to drop down. I have to really focus to keep this upside hip lifting as much as the left side hip. I want to also really ground down through the standing foot there. I want that to be like a really big foot as I lift the right sitting bone up and forward. It's a lot of, that's a lot of effort. Last time on each side. Now just drop the legs to the side. I'm dropping my knees over to the side. And notice I haven't shifted my feet there. I'm going to come back through center by rolling the back body on the floor. Again, I'm getting that sense of spreading my back body, letting my back body be really connecting to the earth. So I exhale, roll it back. Just dropping the legs over. It's not a big stretch in the legs. It's a small twist in the spine. But it really does help me feel, where is that the thigh bones come into the hip? So it helps me feel that global quality of the hip joint. Now I'm going to keep my legs on the left side and make a circle with my right arm. It's like I'm drawing with my fingertips. So I start out with a kind of smaller circle. I'm trying to feel that, allow that turn of the hand that brings the rotation in the arms. And then I'm gradually going to make my circle bigger and bigger. So I'm folding over, reaching over towards my hand. My head can even come up off the floor. Then I'm spreading out. Watching the hand, or watching the hand for the parts of the body that you can still see it, is also nice. It kind of brings in the upper back more. Try to feel the movement in your shoulder blade as you do this. So there's a folding over when I cross the arm, a spreading of the chest when I open it. Let's come through center, drop the knees to the other side, and start out with a smaller circle. Get a little lower on my neck here. A smaller circle. And then let it get bigger. If it feels painful at all in your shoulder, experiment with keeping it quite small, like the elbow very bent. And that can introduce a nice rotating movement in the arms, even if you have some irritation there. If you can spread out your circle, do that. Feel how the shoulder blade moves on the back. Slides down when the hand goes down, crosses, comes, widens out, spreads out as you come out. And then roll your pelvis back on the floor to come back. Now we're going to take a block. For this first thing with the block, you could have a rolled towel if you don't have a block. I haven't actually tried this with a book, but if you had a really thick book, I guess that would also work for this. And, let's in between I'm going to just make sure that my camera is still on. Okay, I think the camera's still on. So I'm going to take a big stretch now, lying down, Tadasana. I am not keeping my low back on the floor for this, but it's good if I can still feel that quality of the abdomen attracted to the back body here. So I reach through my heels, up with my arms. Big breath. And then bend the legs back in. And now I'm going to take the block in between my knees. And again, I'm going to keep that sort of 90-degree angle. And I will keep the low back pressing on the floor now. Hold the sides of the mat. Push the mat away. Roll your arm bones down. Remember that feeling of the strap around your back, of the belt around your back, and the trapezius sliding down your back. And now slowly, slowly, slowly lower the legs, touch the toes, and then come up slowly. Keep your low back on the floor the whole way. Exhalation down. Inhalation up. Be aware of a kind of zippering of the pubic plate up towards the ribs as you do this. So this really has to be done with a lot of intention. I have to give it a lot of intention so that to prevent my low back from popping up off the floor. So do 5 nice, slow repetitions of that. And those moments when the back is about to pop up, really even slow those down more. Now we'll take the block between the knees and the elbows and press the elbows into the block, press the knees into the block, like you're squeezing the block. You can let your head lift up for this and feel your whole back body rounding on the floor here. Again, feel that draw of the pubic plate towards the front ribs. And then release out of that and let your legs down for a moment. Now take the block longwise between the right knee and the right elbow. Take the left leg up. So my left leg is bent here. My left fingertips are to the ceiling. And I'm going to continue to squeeze between the right knee and the right elbow as I move the left arm and the left leg. Keep the low back down. Keep the left side torso as stable as the right side torso. Breathe in as the arm goes over the head. Exhale as the arm comes back together. You could change up the breath. I think I just did. The big deal is to feel how your breath works with the movement. To bring that breath awareness into your movement. Notice if the moving side, if the low back on that side wants to lift up. You don't have to make sounds with your breath, by the way. Maybe I'm partly doing it to just show you that I'm still breathing. Okay, take both legs down, keeping the low back down as you do, and then place your block on your belly. And feel how your breath can move the block. The block can actually help you let go of holding of the abdominal muscles. Tight abdominal muscles are not necessarily strong abdominal muscles. So always make sure you really do let go in your abdominals after doing some strengthening for them. Let's put the block aside, come onto all fours, open up your hands well, opening up your fingers, bring your upper arm bones in, curl your toes under and come into a downward facing dog. Lift your hips up, move your hips up and back. You can let your shoulder blades move towards your hands as you keep firming in your upper outer arms, pressing the thumb side of your hands, the hands down equal to the little finger side. Move your heels back, your shins back, your thighs back, your sitting bones back. And let go in your abdomen. The arms and legs are working here. It actually feels to me like a nice, almost like a treat after the abdominal exercises to be able to lengthen the front of my body. Now walk your feet forward, walk your hands back. You can let a little bend be in your legs, move your chest more forward, move your side ribs forward, and swing up. We're going to take our strap again. Stand with your feet hip width distance apart. And it's nice to repeat this so that you'll be able to do it on your own whenever you like. Take it up behind my head. And then I'll get tight again. I don't know if I showed you before, but I want it not in my low, but not pressing on my ribs. I want it on my shoulder blades. So it's really helping to lift up the top chest. And I mean, by the top chest, I mean this whole area between the armpits. Mr. Iyengar often referred to this area of the body as the armpit chest and said, if the armpit chest is lifted, you cannot be depressed. He meant emotionally depressed. So, as you do this here, notice what happens, how the body might react to the tug down. I notice that my hips, my belly do tend to swing forward and I come forward onto the toes a bit. That's actually kind of fun, that swinging forward. But I want to really find my Tadasana here. So bring weight back towards the heel, press the heels down, lift, as I mentioned before, the back side ribs up. And that will actually allow the abdomen to rest on the back body. I don't have to do a tightening of my abdomen to have that effect. I want there to be a kind of ease in the abdomen in Tadasana. I don't want to be restricting the breath by holding my abdominals tight. So move your thighs back, press your heels, lift your back ribs up. Feel this lift in the sternum. Can you picture your collarbones widening here? The back of your neck lengthening. The back of your skull releasing upwards. Press the ball mounds, press the heels, lift your arches, lift your knees. Okay, let's let go of the belt for now. And with feet hip width distance apart, swing your arms up. And try to keep that feeling of the lift of the sternum here, that lengthening up the front body. And let's bend into Utkatasana, lengthening the front body, rising up along the front body through the little fingers of your hands. And press down through both feet. Keep that rise continuing as you press up onto the balls of your feet and down. Spread your arms wide, shoulder blades wide. Bring them down. Repeat, swing your arms up and bend. Keep your knees out over your toes, not popping in towards each other. That might take a little extra attention to the muscles in the outer hips, or a little additional activation, I should say. And then press down, push up onto the balls of your feet. That's a balancing moment. See if you can keep that sense of inner rising. Push of the feet, but an inner rising through yourself. And come back. Open out your arms. And release. Let's bring the feet all the way together here. Wrap the arms around the body. Come into a wee bend. Feel how your shoulder blades broaden on your back here. Come up and round the other way. Second side, as it were. And up. Lace your fingers together. Roll your palms forward. And Badanguliasana, bound fingers pose. I didn't manage to get my fingers in the frame. But go up with your palms. Move your upper arm bones in towards your ears. Try to feel the arms getting to the backs of the ears. And as you do that, resist again that swing of the hips forward or a swing of the belly forward. Press your heels. Move your thighs back. Lift your back ribs up. And second side. Press your heels. Press up through your hands. Lift your back ribs up. And now we'll come into eagle pose arms. Lift the forearms. Lift the elbows. Come into a little mini bend of the legs. Feel your buttocks dropping down, your back body full. Like what we were doing when we were lying on our backs. And second side. Lift your elbows, slide your shoulder blades down your back. And release. And now Utkatasana with the legs together. Think of lengthening your heels back and keep that rising up your front body. Reach through the little fingers especially, and see if you can press up onto the balls of the feet after, and release. Open out your arms, and Tadasana. Bring your fingertips up and jump wide. Try to get the feeling of the feet going down, even though they've widened out. The press is not to pressing outwards here, but it's a press down of the feet. Turn your left toes in and turn your whole right leg out. And come into triangle pose. Taking your hips to the left as you bring your chest to the right. Spread through your arms. Breathe in and come up. Turn your feet forward, turn your right toes in. Turn your left leg out. Breathe in, exhale, swing your hips to the right as you bring your chest to the left. Let your bottom hand rest on your shin. Stretch your top arm up. Press down and come up. Turn your feet forward and jump your feet back together. Let's take the belt and see what it's like to do our triangle pose with the belt on. You're going to be so familiar with how to put the belt on by the end of this class. Again, don't let the back drop down too low. Let's just, I don't relish jumping with this strap on, so I'm just stepping my feet apart. Now, again, the belt is tending to make my thighs swing forward and my belly push forward here. And so I'm going to do a counter movement. Again, moving my thighs back, pressing my heels more, and lifting my back ribs up. Turn the left toes in and turn the whole right leg out. And now with my hands down by my hips, maybe that brings a little extra tension in my hips, which is nice. I draw my right thigh bone in to the hip socket as I come to the side. And the effect of the belt for me is it's keeping my chest facing forward more than it might. It's also giving me much more awareness of the back of my neck, of my whole back body. the top of your right thigh more to try to move the center of the right buttock forward. Feel this opening of the chest here. Now, release the strap, drop one arm down, the other arm up. Slide your shoulder blades down towards your hips. See if that's just changed your pose some. And come on. My belt is a little disordered now. Have to redo it. Have to totally redo it. Here we go. Second side, turn the right toes in, turn the whole left leg out. Notice if you have already swung forward because of that pressure of the belt. So keep that right thigh moving back, the right heel pressing down. Exhale, come to the side. Turn the top of the left thigh, move the center of the left buttock forward. Feel the effect of the belt on your back, on your front and on your back. And then let go one hand, let the hand drift to the shin. Float the other arm up, expand through your arms. Feel it where your shoulder blades are on your back. Move your shoulder blades down towards your hips. Feel the effect on your pose. Press down through both your feet and come up. Turn your feet forward and jump your feet back together. Let our belt drop for the moment. Take your hands to your hips. Come balance on one foot. Turn the leg out. Today we'll even hold on to the heel. Pull it up on your inner legs. You know, now that you're doing yoga at home, those of you who you can make a costume change if you want to experience what it's like to do tree pose on the bare skin. It's a good bit easier to get that foot to stick. Nevertheless, I still have to push the foot into the thigh and the thigh back into the foot. And this gives me a feeling of like firming in my outer hips, and we'll come back to that later. Take the arms out, roll your arms up, swing your arms up, link your thumbs. Sorry, my hands are out of the frame. Pull your thumbs apart, lift the back ribs up, the side ribs up, sternum up. Now when you are releasing the leg, try not to let it pop off. See if you can lift it and have control over that movement the whole way. So it's a kind of lightness, not a burst off the leg. Lift the second leg as high as you can get it, just using the muscles of the leg. And then today we'll take the foot up a little bit higher. It can be nice to feel the pressure right at the top of the leg. It sort of pulls the attention into the effort of moving the thigh in. So there's a drawing in this outer hip. That's your outer right hip. Pushing the foot into the thigh back into the foot. Roll the arms up. Swing your arms up. Try to remember the feeling of the strap on the back and that release from the base of the neck down, even as the front body lengthens up, even as the back ribs still rise up. And Tadasana. Let's jump wide for Warrior Two pose. Turn your left toes in. Turn your whole right leg out. Arms spreading. Right shoulder blade to right fingertips. Left shoulder blade to left fingertips. Shoulder blades release down the back. Trapezius, I perhaps should say, even releasing down the back. And as I bend the leg to the square, I want to keep a sense that my chest is lifting. So I have moved downwards, but I have not not everything has sunk downwards. There's a kind of lift, and that lift even starts from the floor of the pelvis up through to my chest here. So pull your outer knee into your outer hip and see if you can keep that sense that the thigh bone is feeding in so that your pelvic floor is lifting. Breathe in, come up, turn your feet forward, turn your right toes in, turn your whole left leg out, and the leg bends, but there's an upliftment as you come into this deep bend of the leg. Move this left knee back to the wall behind you, pull from your outer left knee into your outer left hip. And jump your feet back. We're going to do that with the belt. Once again, I make the sides equal. Come around high under my armpits, back behind my head. Step the feet wide, try to alternate whatever foot you stepped wide before. So now, not only will my leg be going down, but I'll be feeling this tug down my back. So how do I keep the lift coming up through the center of myself upward as I bend down? So that strong lift of the sternum. You also may, for those of you who tend to want to move your chest forward, you may find a little bit more feedback that the strap is giving you to continue to feel the sternum rising directly up. So I'm not aiming my sternum to the side here. I'm moving my sternum up, taking my hands directly down. And come up. Turn your feet forward, right toes in, left leg up. And bend the leg, but keep the lift of the chest up. And come up. Let's stay here. No, actually, I take it back. Let's release the strap and jump the feet back together. And let's have a block now. We'll take this right over into Utthita Prajapanasana. No strap. Turn your left toes in. Turn your right leg out. Bend your leg to the square. And now, yes, I take my sternum over to the side. You can want to think about lengthening my right side body over. And then turn the top arm, press from the back foot through your top arm. And imagine the strap is there and move your shoulder blades down your back, as though they were moving all the way back to the press of your back heel. And up, turn your feet forward. I'm going to do with one block today. Move your block, turn your right toes in, turn your left leg out, bend your leg to warrior two first, and then draw from your outer knee into your outer hip as you aim your chest over to the side. Turn the top arm, sweep your arm up. And feel a vector from the back foot up through top fingertips. Slide your shoulder blades back, all the way back to the heel behind you. I don't mean behind you. Your heel is part of you. Your right heel. Press that right heel down. Move your shoulder blades towards your right heel. Breathe in and come up. Turn your feet forward and jump your feet back together. We're going to do a first Warrior One pose with a high leg. So stand into Tadasana, facing the chair. This could be any chair. It does not have to be a yoga chair. And I have put a bolster underneath for a second pose we're going to do. You can either not do that part or pile up some firm pillows when we get to that. So I'm standing facing the chair in Tadasana. I ground down through both of my feet here. And then, like when we go into tree pose, I shift onto one leg, and I really want to maintain support in the hips here as I bring my foot forward. So I'm really trying to bring that foot forward on a through line directly out from myself, not swing it to the side and move my hips. So I'm taking a little moment to practice stabilization in the hips here. And then I'm gonna lunge forward into a tree pose, into a warrior one pose. So I can do different actions with my arms here. So up, over the head, lift the sternum up, and out into a big Y, and back. Vimanasana with the arms to the side, airplane pose. Stretch the arms up. Now stay on the last time. Stretch the arms up. Press the back heel down, especially the outer back heel. Move your tailbone forward. Lift your sternum forward. Rise up in your front body. Lift with the little fingers especially. And then look up. Don't look back, but just look directly up to the ceiling. Imagine that your sternum was looking as well. And come back up. Now, hold your arms out to the side and see if you can balance on one leg. Not swinging the hips one side to the other as you bring that foot down. And second side, balancing moment, stabilizing moment, and come forward into the lunge, feeling that out, and then move forward and back. Swing the arms to a Y. Move the tailbone forward as you swing the arms. Breathe in, out to the side. You can parry this as you like, and up to the Y. And then stay in the pose, reach up through the little fingers especially, firming your triceps to the bone. Press your back heel, especially the outer back heel. You'll feel the back knee firming as you do that. And from the tailbone moving forward, rise up along your front body. Lift your chest. Look up. Track back within yourself, all the way to the back heel. Come up, open the arms, and a balance moment, and return. So here's the part we're going to use the bolster for, and again, you could skip this, return to the pose we just did, if this looks like too much for your knees. I'm going to put my hands down on the seat of the chair, hop my back foot in, and drop the left knee down to the chair. So I'm getting a really nice big flexion in this thigh, and you'll see it better on the other side. I'm also getting a stretch across the front left hip flexors. So I don't want to, let me tell you what I do want to do. I want to keep my tailbone moving forward here. Feel that whole length. Again, you'll see this better on the other side. And I can take my hands a little higher on the chair as I stay here. So I'm dropping my left knee down, moving my tailbone forward, and feeling this movement of the right thigh up towards my ribs. Put the hands back on the chair, lift the hips up. Balance moment, come out of it. Balance moment, other foot. And now you'll see better. Oh, I'm sorry, let me show that in the right order. Hands down on the chair, drop the knee down. And then I move the tailbone forward. So this is where the muscles, the hip flexors run. That includes the quadriceps and the iliopsoas muscle. So that's like right there. Get that lengthen right there. So I want to keep my tailbone moving forward. You can let your hands come to wherever they rest easily. But do stay here for a bit. And come on up. Let's actually take a moment here to do another stretch for the thigh, and this is an alternate stretch you could do if you didn't have a bolster or that didn't seem right for you. You can take either your hand or a strap to your ankle, and again, see how the tailbone wants to go back. I move my tailbone forward as I pull my heel in towards my buttock. And I feel this opening. Try to picture that front of the hip joint area lengthening, getting so long. When I let go of the foot, I keep the heel pulling into my buttock and then lengthen down. So feel free to use a strap on that one. And second side, pull the heel up as much as you can without your hand. Take your hand, lengthen your knee down, move your tailbone forward. Even an image of the buttocks going down here can be good. Hold the heel up to the buttock when you let go, and lengthen down. Okay. We're going to turn the chair upside down. A little bit of a mental blank spot there. Turn the chair upside down now. And this does work with, I think, probably most other folding chairs. And even it worked with my kitchen chair. And I'm going to put an extra sticky mat. It's not necessary to have an extra sticky mat if you don't have one. And then I'm going to have a blanket for my knees. I'm going to start with my hands on the side of the chair. And again, I want to get that probably bringing the upper arm bone in. It's kind of wrapping the arms in. You might even feel it more here because the hands are turned out. And I'm going to come into down dog, curling my toes under and taking my thighs up and back. Now, this down dog, my hands are so high up, you can see my heels come right down to the ground. So it's nice to get that touch of the mat under my heels, and I can think of extending the heels down to stretch the Achilles muscle. But I want to keep a sense that the sitting bones are still lifting as I do that. And slowly lower the knees down. Come and get your block, retrieve your block, and arrange your blanket so that your entire your shins are really supported on the blanket. And I'm going to take, I had to redo that. I'm going to take the block under my forehead and lift my hands up to the back of the chair. So feel free to adjust the distance from the chair. Remember that feeling of the shoulder blades moving down, back towards the hips here, and firm in the upper outer arms. So I'm trying to lengthen through the armpits. Again, that gets to this area that Mr. Iyengar calls the armpit chest, to have a sense of almost like opening up the shutters to the ribs that are all in this area so that the ribs can breathe. Now I'm going to move the block over to the right, and now I'm going to take the left hand up higher on that foot of the chair and feel free to just keep positioning the block where your forehead will come down easily to it. I use this right hand to help me turn my belly over my right thigh. So I'm doing a little action in the hand, arm. And then from the press of my left palm on the foot of the chair, I pull my left hip back. So I'm getting a long line from the left hand along the armpit back to the left hip. You'll see this better when I turn to the other side. Come up, switch the block over, right hand to the top of the right chair, forehead on the block. Use your left hand to turn the left belly out over the left thigh, then pull your right hip back. Really reach through the right hand. Press the right palm down. Firm in the right upper arm. And the turn of the belly over the left thigh is sort of what helps open up the right side body more. Especially for me, the area of the muscles that cross the armpit get very tight. The latissimus dorsi muscles, the swimmer muscles. Not that I'm much of a swimmer. Let's come back center. Now see if you can be in the center with your hands up higher. So both hands now on the feet of the chair. Kind of nice if I can get a sense of my, kind of nice if I can get a sense that the forehead is lengthening forward, not tucking back. And come on up. Now, and you may want to slightly rearrange your blanket. We're going to place the right heel, and I've got the heel on the lip of the chair, but it could be anywhere on the chair. And I'm going to hold the sides of the chair again and lunge my hips forward. Then I curl my toes under and lift the back thigh up. And this is another stretch across the front hip there. My shoulders, I slide the shoulder blades down to my hips here. Release the back leg. And come up and hold the chair here while I switch legs. So I'm really letting my chest come all the way onto the front leg. Curl the back toes under. Lift the back thigh up. Press down into your left heel at the same time that you lift the back thigh up. That tends to actually activate the muscles around the hips, and we'll see that even more in the next pose we do. Knee down and come up. And take a moment in a high kneel. High kneels are so nice because they really make us find our postural muscles in the back of the legs and the lower buttock here, so that we're upright. Okay, just need to check that my camera's still working. Okay, so very similar. This time I'm going to keep my hands up high on the chair and take my knee a little farther back, lunge forward again, lift my chest up, and I want to get the sense here, again, that the shoulder blades slide down, but there's this movement up of the chest. There's even a sense of a coming up from the hips, not a fall. I want to make sure I'm not falling out to the side or dropping down on the hips. The press of the front foot helps with that. The press of the front foot pulls the thigh back into the hip here. And in fact, it's kind of fun actually just to take your arms like this here to give you that feeling. Now, put your hands on here. So it's already pretty active in the legs. And now with the balance of my hands on the top of the chair, I'm going to come into another warrior one pose. Curl the back toes under. The heel obviously is way up off the ground, so it's a variation of a warrior one pose. And lift the back thigh up. Move your tailbone forward. Lift your chest. This is a pretty strong action. Slide your shoulder blades down your back. Release the back leg. Change sides. Wrap the elbows under here. Slide your shoulder blades down. Move your hips forward. And press the front heel down. Even take one arm up, one arm back. And feel how the press of the front heel pulls the outer knee into the outer hip. And that keeps your hips secure. It keeps your hips stable here. Come up. And curl. Put the hands back on the chair. Curl the toes under. And see if you can lift the back thigh up. We're coming from being in a pretty low lunge. So it's a pretty strong stretch on the frontal hip here. It's probably a little lower than most of us usually come into our warrior one pose. Slide your shoulder blades down your back. Lift your chest. Lift the back thigh. Firm the back knee. And take that knee back down. Put both your shins on the blanket and come down into a Vajrasana pose. If you need something on your heels here, for this to be a workable resting position for you, do that. Another folded blanket, a couple of pillows. Now turn my chair right side up again. And we're going to come into a modified version of pigeon pose. It's another stretch that helps us open across the frontal hip bones. And I'm got my knees together at first, lift up my left foot, place my left knee on a blanket. Now, the tighter your quadriceps are, the more you'll want to move this blanket forward. If this is too much, you can repeat that quadricep. If it's the pressure on your knee is not good for your knee, you could stand up and do the quadricep stretch we did earlier. I pull my right foot forward. And then come up. So it's in the coming up that I start to feel this stretch on the front of the left hip. If it really is too much, you move the left knee forward. And any stretch that you do, you want to be able to be in it and for the muscle to accept that lengthening. If the muscle's fighting back too hard, you lose the benefit. And you're also sort of assaulting your own nervous system. So here again, I want to get a movement of the tailbone forward. I'm going to hold the back of the chair here and get that roll of the arm bones back that we were working on with our strap before. I can even walk the fingertips back behind me as I lift the sternum. So again, as you stay here, move the tailbone forward, lift your sternum, roll your arm bones back. Then release the arms, take them overhead. Link the thumbs. Pull your arm bones in behind your ears. Release that. Walk your feet a little forward. And now come into a little bit more of a lunge, moving your tailbone forward, linking the thumbs again. Now that front foot, pull the mat back with your front right foot. Moving your tailbone forward. And come up. Take the foot back in. Take your hands back down. Pull your front foot back foot forward, and then place the right foot now up on the chair, right knee down. Bring your left foot forward. Come upright. This hip does have a tendency to want to swing out to the side. So the more I ground down through that front foot, the more I can bring that hip in. I'm going to move my tailbone forward here. Lift the sternum up. I'm first holding the chair behind me and rolling the arm bones back. Even turning my fingers back to the wall helps with that. So I begin to experience sort of the space between my back ribs and my back arms. So there's the hip going out. There's the hip coming back in. And you feel the back ribs. The back ribs want to start pushing forward here. Lift the back ribs as well. Take the arms out. Lift the thumbs one way. Get the arms back behind the back of the ears. Release the arms. Walk the foot a bit forward. Link the thumbs the other way. Pull your thumbs apart as you swing your hips forward. And now, really pull the mat with your front left foot. Pull it back towards you. You'll feel how it sort of organizes the hips more as you do that. And come up. And down with your hands. Bring both your knees back down. That was a version of pigeon pose. So now we're going to open up our blanket a little bit more. And if you have a bolster, use a bolster. If not, a couple of firm pillows or folded blankets on your heels will be fine here. And we're going to, again, sit in. Screen's gotten a little dark, I'm not sure why. Let me try to turn on some lights, see if it looks a little bit better. See if that gives us a little bit more lighting. Maybe that's a little bit more light. All right. Have your strap nearby. And sit on your bolster. My shin's a little bit apart here. Notice when you sit with the support of the bolster that there can be a tendency for, not universally for everybody, but there can be a tendency for the sitting bones to be rolled forward on the sitting bones with already a little arch in the back. So I want to try to find the center of my sitting bones as I sit on the bolster here. Then we're going to do one more time with the strap. Back under the armpits, over the head and behind. Pull down. Notice if you've shifted back towards the front of your sitting bones. Center the sitting bones, lift the back ribs. Lift your sternum. Now press into your shins and come up. And we have a little bit of I'm not really touching the front of the chair, but it's a little bit, it's like my nervous system just knows it's there. There's something there to attract the frontal hips. So I want to keep that attraction, to have that sense of that length of the front of the hips, even as I pull down the strap, lift the sternum, and reach my hands back behind me towards the bolster. You can even lengthen your fingertips and see if you can touch the bolster. I'm trying to not move. I'm trying to stay close to the chair with my frontal hips as I do that. And release. Let's do that one more time. Pulling down, looking forward, lengthening the frontal hips. And now I'm going to lift the chest more. Let the shoulder blades slide down the back. You can move into the back and look up. Don't drop your head farther than looking up at the ceiling. So you're keeping some tension here from chin to sternum as you lift the sternum up. Keep that, let the strap teach you the flow of skin down your back. And come up. and sit. Let's repeat that without the strap. Push down, roll the arm bones back, but keep that sense of the reach in the hands that maybe the strap will help bring a little bit more. As you reach your hands back, moving your tailbone forward, lifting your chest up, look up, Ustrasana, the camel pose. Be firm in your buttocks. It's almost like you're drawing up your back hamstrings into your low buttocks. And come up, sit. Let's repeat that a third time. 3 to 5 times is always very nice for the big back bends. And so I want to keep a sense that my heels are where my hands are going if you're doing this without the bolster, or just repeat with the bolster. And as I draw up on the back leg, so there's this drawing up of the back legs, a firming of the buttocks so that this lift can continue right up the front body. As I reach back, trying to keep the frontal hips attracted to the chair. When I have that touch on the bolster or my heels, I lift the chest more. It's sort of an active moment of shoulder blades coming more into the back, where that strap was before. And if your neck tends to hurt here, just keep looking up to the ceiling. Otherwise, you can begin to even look back to the wall behind you. To come out, press your shins, lift your chest, move your tailbone forward, and come up. And sit back down. You can take your bolster or your pillows back to sit back in onto your heels. Now we're done with the chair. And gonna be right on my mat. No blanket now. No strap. I do have one block. It's not necessary for you to do the block here. But if you have the block, or if you've done this in class, you want to keep working on it, do keep working on it. So this is this pose has 2 names: Chatushpadasana, 4-footed pose. It's really also Setu Bandha, and Setu is a bridge. So it's a bridge pose and 4-footed pose. The 4 feet are my shoulders, 2 shoulders, 2 feet. And I want to once again do that roll of the upper arms, bones back that the strap has been teaching us, the press of my feet. And now when I lift up my hips, I'm also lifting up my chest. I'm even rolling the arm bones under again more. And I want to have that press of the arms, the shoulder, tips of the shoulders down, to free the chest up, to even get a sense that I'm lifting this armpit chest area up. So do that one. Get as much loft as you can there before taking your block and placing it under your sacrum. You don't want it in your lumbar spine. You don't want it pressing on any vertebra. But there's a flat bone that's your sacrum. That's where you want it. You can go to the mid-level with this as well. You don't have to be on the high level. And once you've got it there, you can even pull your feet in a little bit more. Take your shoulders towards your feet too, and see if you can alight up off the block. So you can stay there and keep working on that. And if you have done this in class, if this is a pose you are working on, you can now, let's do this way. You can just go ahead and do an Urdhva Dhanurasana now. The body has been prepared in many ways for this. So the bolster sort of gives me a head start into this pose. I'm going to let my heels of my hands be at the wall. We all have different sort of molding situations on the wall, but I don't have actual molding. But molding can be a kind of nice thing to hook your heels of your hands on. You can also have 2 blocks here, but for simplicity, I didn't bring out the blocks just now. So again, I'm gonna, now this pose also has 4 feet. Now it's 2 hands, 2 feet. I'm gonna press down into my feet, and I'm going to press into my hands and think about moving my shoulder blades towards my hands to lift up into Urdhva Dhanurasana. So I could have the palms at the wall like so. I can even work my heels on my hands down to the ground. Some of you might do better just with the whole hand on the ground. That for me is a little shortness in the fibers here. So once you come down, let everything soften, release, and again, I recommend repeating that 3 to 5 times. And it's interesting, I don't have the molding here, which I have had in other places that I live. I've been using my blocks for this. So this is a little experiment for me today. You can even experiment with having your hands a little higher on the wall. No, it's too slippery. Okay, here's my 3rd time. If I'm up, feel like things are opening up a little, I can walk my feet farther in. And again, if you're at home and you can stop the video and you can go get 2 blocks, that's cool. Doing it with blocks under the hands is also really nice. Now, to come off of this, I'm just going to roll over onto the side and come up. Those of you who are not doing that pose yet, do not worry. You go from Chatushpadasana to our final poses now. So I'm going to give 2 final poses for those of you not practicing shoulder stand. We will start lying on our backs. Pull the right leg in, lengthen the left leg out. Soften your belly, soften your eyes, let the back of your neck lengthen. Switch legs. Notice if you're lifting up your shoulders towards your ears. Try to just kind of settle your shoulder blades down your back towards your hips, but also your upper arm bones, like they are now attracted to the earth. So that your chest can feel lit up. Like the bird is aloft and flying. So, final pose for those of you not doing shoulder stand is to put the chair at the edge of your mat. It doesn't actually have to be at the wall. And then you can put a blanket on the seat. And then with legs up, just open out your arms, let them release from your body. And let go into Shavasana. Let go your eyes, let go your jaw, let go your throat. Feel the movements of your breath. You can stay there however long you like. When you come up, roll to your side. Take your time coming out of the pose. Now, for those of you who are doing shoulder stand, after your Chatushpadasana, you will make your shoulder stand set up. So I've made a shoulder stand set up. Those of you who've been coming to class really do know how to make your own shoulder stand set up already. I take a little bit of a higher. It works better for my shoulders and neck to go a little higher. So this is what I've set up here is about the equivalent of 5 blankets. And I've rolled my sticky mat up over a bolster, and I've noticed that I didn't do what I meant to do, which was to make my setup legs distance from the wall. So I can measure that by sitting on the edge, and I seem to have eyeballed that fairly well. My legs distance. I've also taken a little additional sticky mat under my elbows. That helps me create this action. So in the pose, I want to really quite actively get the sense I'm moving my elbows and my upper arms into the mat and towards each other. So you all know how to get into the pose and line up your shoulders a little bit away from the edge. And now take your feet to the wall. And now start the arm action of rolling the arm back, turning the hand to the back. So it's the roll of the upper arm. And then this moment, this swirl of the hands on the back can really help you get up on your shoulders more there. Notice that I do take, this is another moment where skin to skin is a very nice help in your practice. Now I want to get enough of a sense of the squeezing of my elbows, of my upper arm bones. Yes, it's my elbows and it's my upper arm bones towards each other and into the blankets, that my cervical spine lifts up. And I also lift, so this is an upside down upliftment, a lift of my thighs up, a lift of my hips up. And with that swirl of the hands, I can get lower and lower on the back, more towards my shoulder blades, to get that lift. Take one leg up, reach up through that foot, keep the lift of the center of the left thigh up. Bring that leg down, so now I'm lifting my left leg up, repositioning my arms, squeezing my elbows towards each other, pressing my upper arm bones in, and it's kind of like they too are moving back and towards each other. So again, I don't want to feel like there's a falling down or pushing down at the neck vertebra. So I create as much height as I can between my armpits and my hips before taking the second leg up into the pose. Now here, I really want to find an action in the buttocks. You should already really be feeling those muscles today from the poses we did. And so it's a nice day to practice bending the knees and yet keeping the tailbone in and the hips lifted, not this. I'm trying to stay upright here in the pose. And that can help, again, fire the buttock muscles so I get more of a lift through my buttocks. each one leg down at a time. Then you can let go of your arms. Let your arms come out to the side. So it's kind of like I roll a bit more into the tops of my shoulders. You can even let the knees bend a bit here. If it's comfortable for you, you can let your feet even come to the floor. Or just let them stay up with the legs slightly bent. And then use your hand, a little counter pressure of your hands as you roll out of the pose. Let your head release back. And then slide until your shoulders just barely touch the floor here. You can hold your legs. Release in your throat. Release your eyes. So you can take a final Shavasana in this position. I did switch my legs before coming up. Or slide until your whole back is on the floor, or a lot of your back is on the floor, since we're against the wall. Turn over, come up, and then take a final Shavasana, perhaps with a bolster under your knees, though if you prefer lying flat, that's always a lovely way to do Shavasana. So, final Shavasana here. I'm placing my knees over my bolster. Letting my arms drift away. Drift a little away from the side body. So again, I feel like the shutters are open. I can experience the sky of my chest. And let go in my eyes and my jaw and my tongue. And let the whole front body release to the back body. Let go to the earth.